with Ivan Fedotov. I know he's kind of in a tough spot being the odd man out here in net, but do you appreciate kind of what he's gone through over the last couple of years just to get here and kind of put himself in the picture with you guys?
Gone through a lot, yes. I respect that about him. Before he even got here, some of the stuff he had to go through, and then with us, struggles early, then finds his game. Yeah, it's not a great spot to be in, but it is what it is. I haven't changed my decision on that stuff there, but you never know what happens. And he continues to do his stuff here and handle himself really well.
How do you look at Scott Laughton's season? Obviously, he had the 4-goal game, but you've tried him in the middle a little bit. Now he's on the wing on the fourth line. Do you feel like he's contributing up to his standard?
Yeah, I prefer him on wing. I think he's a player that does a lot of those little things on the boards. One of our top penalty killers. I use him on face-offs at certain times in the game. I think the spot he is with us right now is a good spot, and I think he's contributed. I think the fourth line has, again, I don't know what the lines are sometimes. Depends what game goes, what number you put on them. But I believe that line has given us some good minutes. Last week there was a couple of struggles in their game within one of the games. I forget which one, but they've given us important minutes. Him being one of them. So I know Lots wants more ice time. Everybody does, right? And but I like what he's done for the team.
I know we kind of beat to death the culture thing, but like when you came in your first year, I wasn't here, but when you were sort of going through the evaluating process of that, of who you wanted to be around long term, when did it occur to you that he was one of those glue guys in that regard?
Well, you could see, even from an outsider coaching another team and watching Scotty play and just how he handled himself, he's going to be part of that. I knew that going in. In my process of interviewing with the team, they filled me in on a lot of players and how they've handled themselves. So I had a good sense of what he was. I didn't realize the utility that I could use him, which has been good. But as I said the other night when he scored his 4-goal, he's an easy guy to pull for. The players gravitate to him just the way he is, and sometimes more off the ice. He's a good person. So he's an easy guy to pull for.
John, go back to for a second. I'm certainly not expecting you to give a timeline here, but you mentioned a few weeks ago that the 3-goalie thing, it's not something that's going to be able to go on forever. Is there a point where you say, we need to get him some playing time, whether it's here or down there?
Yeah, and not just me, probably him too, right? So again, and I won't give you the timeline, but there's certainly conversations going on with that. And part of the situation is, as I said when we talked about this last, is I want to see if Urs can stay healthy. That's a question mark for me. So there's no sense of doing things that you don't need to, that you regret doing so quickly when you let the other things settle. So conversations going on. We'll see where it goes.
Any advantages to playing a team twice in 1 week?
Nope. Not for me. Maybe for the players. I just don't overthink that because I'm not spending too much time talking about the other team anyway. It's basically our execution, and I'll go further with the answer. I thought we watching the tape, we played really good against Minnesota. Their top guy scored, ours didn't. And that was the difference in the game. We actually had more chances and more quality chances. So I just hope the result doesn't affect our confidence. I think that's the biggest part of my coaching coming up here today and tomorrow, getting ready for that game.
We talked a little bit last week about the improvement structurally and the fact that you guys, well, certainly not perfect, are playing a lot better. Can you think of kind of a point of the year where you felt like it started to turn in that positive direction, like some sort of turning point, whether a game or a stretch?
I don't. They run in together for me, and I remember as a group we talked how disjointed we were, and I just don't know when that was because the game's running together for me, and I just can't pinpoint a date.
Do you have a sense, maybe more this year that the team recognizes games that might have more meaning at the end of the year right now? Like just because last year, like your record against the Eastern Conference and in-division opponents wasn't very good. Do you feel like they have more of a sense now that, you know, Detroit, Columbus, these might be teams that you're fighting with for position?
Well, I don't know if they think it, if they have a better awareness. It hurt us at the end of last year, right? And I don't think players are built to think back on that. I think with this group, I think for the most part, this team has played hard pretty much every night here. There's been certain times within the games there may be a lull, but I don't think it certainly doesn't come into our talk or our meetings that this is what happened last year. Let's rectify it. What goes on with me right now, and it's been for the 3 years I've been here, these times before holidays, the 5, 6, 7 games, I think they're really important points for the end of the year, because I think teams, I think sometimes players are packed and ready to go somewhere, and they forget. We can't forget. We're not good enough. We need to grab as many points as we can before we have that Christmas break. We got 4 games and 6 nights here. It's a tough schedule. I'm just hoping we can get some points here that you go home and they put them in the bank for March and April.